Hello everyone, this is the first episode of my journey to the world border in Minecraft. I don't expect to actually make it to the world border anytime soon, but what I'm doing is using that journey as gameplay footage over top of what's considered to be voice commentary. So as my Minecraft character continues on his world record setting impossible journey, I will be talking about random stuff that I care about, or each video might even have a specific topic. Today is Thanksgiving, and Thanksgiving makes me really nostalgic for periods of time when I was a lot younger, when my family used to go out of the state and travel to other states where other family members were celebrating Thanksgiving, so we used to have a big dinner together. More recently, my family has been just celebrating at home, though, just with me and my immediate family. My original idea was to just go through some news articles and talk about them. But the thing is, with these news articles, it's all like, for example, when I click on the news, it's like Fox News staffers thought Newsmax was a joke, but they're not laughing anymore. Fox News doesn't need to fear Trump's wrath. Thanksgiving, and that's talking about Thanksgiving, coronavirus, more President Trump versus Biden stuff, COVID vaccine, which is all important stuff, but it's just not stuff I want to talk about at this time, I think. In some ways, I'm doing this as practice to get myself better at commentary, just commenting over gameplay, even though I'm not even looking at the gameplay right now while I'm commenting. One thing I want to talk about is my poetry book, Baptism of Apathy, which was my first book, which I published in 2015. I'm coming out with a third edition soon, and I sat down to start writing more poems for that book today, and just what I ended up doing was looking over the older material, refamiliarizing myself with it, preparing to edit, because when you want to edit something, you have to be really familiar with the material, because it's been so long since I've looked at Baptism of Apathy. Even though I wrote it, I don't always come back to the poems I write immediately. Sometimes they just sit on the shelf for a while. A lot of people, they expect you to have all your stuff memorized if you wrote something. For example, people go to concerts and then they're like, play this song and to the artist, and then the artist says, I don't know that song. And that would be a really awkward situation, because people just expect the musical artist to know all their songs. So yeah, I think some of the best concerts I've been to have been Switchfoot, Angels and Airwaves, Blink-182, Lifehouse. I've been to so many concerts, it's crazy. I keep forgetting which ones I've been to. I also saw Dierks Bentley in DC one time. This was a long time ago. He has that song 5150. That's a good song, pretty catchy dance beat, I think. It's a country song. But yeah, Dierks Bentley does have some good albums. He has this album called Black, I think that's the name of the album. Yeah, and it came out in 2016, and it has this song called What the Hell Did I Say? Which is apparently about being in a dysfunctional relationship, but then Dierks Bentley goes to a bar, gets drunk, and starts calling his partner or girlfriend, or I'm not sure what the status of that relationship is, but then when in the morning the girlfriend says, that was the best message I've ever heard, and it's like how someone's mind can be changed in such a short time because of you saying something. It's the power of words to convince someone to change their whole position on something, or to love you more or fall in love with you, because words really do have power to do things like that. For example, just the fact that I can get in front of this microphone right here at this time and post it on YouTube, it makes me feel have so much power. The power of freedom of speech is something that should never be taken for granted, or never be looked down upon, or never be seen as underrated or anything like that. And yeah, one of the things that is tragic, as I've said before on my other series on this channel, is that people often only download things or only stream things instead of having physical media, which is like a very big tragedy. For example, especially regarding music, because music is something that is one of the purest art forms out there. And when people start only streaming music, they have no ownership over the product, and therefore if something happens to the streaming service or they take the song down, that song is gone. So that's why I like having permanent records of things, especially important things. Like even when people go back in time and they look at like 100, like let's say like 200 years in the future, they want to learn more about our period. Like we didn't keep any records or anything, or the internet was destroyed or something because we put all our stuff online. If that database gets corrupted somehow, there's going to be so much information that is lost. This is like, for example, how the Alexandria Library burned in the ancient world was destroyed, and how they lost so much material, and there's nothing anyone could do about it after it's gone except for restart, rebuild, relearn all the knowledge. And like they had learned, there were probably like great philosophical documents back then that people had spent years writing, and they're just gone in an instant when the fire lit up the whole library, when it burned down and all of that was destroyed. And as I said before, the process of writing is one of the most laborious tasks you can do. Like creative writing, people really look down on creative writers more than they should, because when you think of a TV show or something like that, you don't think about the person who wrote the thing usually, the writers. You think about these big stars in the show. Or the same goes for movies, really. It's very rare. It's only pretty much with books that we think of the authors as a superstar. However, it's very hard to become a famous author, especially in the modern world where people don't exclusively use books for their entertainment or knowledge, or people, if they want to learn something, there's so much free information out there that people won't even look at books anymore. They're too lazy. I know this from personal experience. They get so lazy with all the media they get that they won't read books. Like they're used to all this quick information instead of the information that takes a while to digest, because books are hard to read. You sit down, you read a book, it takes hours, and I can't remember the last time I went through a full book. I was reading To Sleep in the Sea of Stars by Christopher Paolini. I still want to finish the book, but I'm still working on it, trying to get through it, and hopefully I'll be able to get through it soon so I can talk about it on one of these episodes. For example, this book, on the back it says, "Space holds countless secrets. She just found the deadliest one." Like, I can't remember the name of the main character. Yeah, it was Kira. Kira was the main character. And if I say anything else that gets into the story, and that people will blame me for spoiling the book for them, because I'm bad at talking about books without spoiling them. For example, I was talking about Vampire Diaries on one of my walking videos, and apparently I spoiled the whole show. Didn't have anyone come after me for that one, but at the same time, yeah, it's hard to talk about a show in a review sense without actually spoiling the ending, because when you're talking about something, you want to go over those main events that happen in the story, those main characters, those shocking turns in the story that happen. And yeah, in the future, I do plan to do more fiction writing. It's just that fiction writing, for me at least, it's pretty hard. It's harder than poetry, because I've been focusing so much on poetry that fiction is going to be like a totally new ocean to step into and learn the ropes of the craft So yeah, as I'm talking, I'm keeping track of. I already recorded the video for the Minecraft gameplay footage, so I'm keeping track of how long the video is, so I can just talk for 31 minutes. This might seem like filler, but it's not, because I really need this experience to get my thoughts out there and to just talk about random stuff. Because hopefully my goal here is to get someone, at least one person, to enjoy these videos. Because I've heard it said, other YouTubers have said, you gotta make at least like 100 crappy videos before people will start coming to your channel to watch your videos. Because what I heard, that there's 1% return rate on YouTube videos. So for every 100 people that watch your channel, you'll have like one person come back and subscribe. So that's what I'm aiming towards. If I just get like 100,000 views eventually, maybe one person will. 100,000 views, maybe I'll get 1,000 subscribers. I think that's the goal. I'll get more YouTube views and therefore get more subscribers. You got to get the word out there about whatever you're saying or whatever your message is, and then people will eventually take notice and be part of that journey with you. And yeah, the other series I'm doing on this channel is the walking series, where I'm walking the total distance to South Africa as part of a thing to raise awareness for couples who have been separated because of COVID-19, etc., or other reasons. And also in the description of that video, I have a donation link to donate to help end homelessness in the United States. I'm not sure if I want to do the same charity for this one, but I got to pick a charity. So maybe not in the first episode I'll have that in the link, because I just want to get the episode out there. But in the description later of this video, I can go retroactively change it. There will be a link. If you're watching this at a later time than when I uploaded this, there will be a link to a charity that you can donate to, which I'm going to be promoting through these videos. Yeah, and the other videos, the walking to South Africa videos, I have a link in the description to the spreadsheet of my progress, which I've got 1%, a little more than 1% of the journey done. So it's pretty much like 1.2% of the journey. It's amazing how much I've done so far. I've actually traveled further in the real life walking video series than I have in this Minecraft walking video series, because earlier I did some live streams and those count towards the total goal, just so I have everything recorded. So I want everyone to know that if I do it, I'll be the first person to reach the world border in Minecraft, starting from the spawn region. So yeah, that'll be interesting to happen. Yeah, if I can actually do that, maybe I'll get some notoriety on my YouTube channel. Someone will notice me, which getting noticed on YouTube is hard. Like, I even sent some poetry books to like some famous YouTube channels, and only one of them so far actually showed one of the poetry books on the screen. I think her name was Murphy. I forget what her last name is. But she showed the last poem on the one of her videos. She actually showed it twice. The second time she showed it was when she was listing all the books she had that she hadn't read yet. Apparently she's a very prolific reader, more prolific than I am, because she has a YouTube channel dedicated to reading books, which, I mean, you gotta read a lot of books if you have a YouTube channel dedicated to reading books. That impresses me a lot, that someone can have a YouTube channel where all they do is read books and review them, because I do not have the patience to sit down in one place, just read books. Maybe it's my hyperactivity or something, but I do not have enough patience at all to do something like that. So yeah, I do want to read so much more material than I've been reading. Like, I can't remember the last time I finished a complete novel. It's all these poetry books I've been reading. So mostly I've been reading Leaves of Grass over again, the different editions of that book. I can never get away from Walt Whitman. Also reading Emily Dickinson. I've been trying to read more Tyler Knott Gregson. I need to get into other poets, for example, like Robert Frost, Mary Oliver, read more of her books. Because I've heard if you read more books, you'll be able to expand your poetical skills or whatever genre you want to write. It's recommended to read 50 novels before starting your first novel. What I've done is I've compiled a list of books I have in my room, and I put them in a spreadsheet, assigned each book a random number, then randomly selected each book and selected the order I'm going to read them in. The first one that showed up was Aragon. It's one of the first books I read, actually, so I've been trying to read through that again, just to familiarize myself with how novels work again. When I think about novels, I think they're sort of like movies telling a story in the same way, which is why I like when a writer of a novel does something more cinematic than most other novels, which has been done. Even before films were really a thing, people were still making books that seemed very cinematic in the way the story was told. A lot of older books, they're actually very applicable to modern day. Even the Odyssey is very relevant book. Was originally memorized before it was written down. So that's something very interesting that people could just add to the story as it went on. The ending of the Odyssey is very abrupt, I'd say, because when it ends, it feels like someone just tacked on an ending and used this literary device that you're not supposed to use called Machine of God, Deus Ex Machina, where the God characters at the end just came and saved everyone when people were about to start fighting and kill each other. So yeah, that is one of the literary devices you do not want to use, which is a device really to save the plot instead of actual hard writing, thinking through your writing and taking a long time to do it. You just use one of those literary cop-outs, and that's what happens. It ruins your story. I've also been thinking a lot about YouTube videos. I think YouTube is really what I want to do with my life, but the thing is, there's such a high threshold, a barrier to entry with the whole job. I watch a lot of YouTube channels. One of my favorites is this YouTube channel called Optimus. He has gameplay footage over commentary on recent events, or whether that's related to politics or social media or game companies, etc. Things that interest him. He just puts a gameplay video out there and then comments over it later on. So in a sense, it's not about the gameplay, it's about the commentary. That's what matters with the gameplay video. Yeah, and this To Sleep in a Sea of Stars book is actually a pretty thick book. Let's see, how many pages is this? This book is 878 pages. That's I've seen books that are 1,000 pages, but it doesn't really get that much longer than that. You can also make your book wider or taller. So that's some ways that you can get more content in a book, and also reducing the font. A lot of authors who are doing young adult have a bigger font than when they do full adult size novels. I think To Sleep in a Sea of Stars was Christopher Paolini's first novel that was specifically for adults, even though a lot of adults do read the Inheritance series, including me. So yeah, I have been playing a lot of Minecraft recently, especially even with my fiance and my brother. I tried to get a game together today with my fiance and my brother playing together, but apparently the game got so boring that we just didn't want to play anymore, because Minecraft, you gotta really make your own fun with that game. It doesn't just happen to you. It can be boring if you don't know what you're doing in the game. Or it can also be boring if you just don't have a plan with what you're going to do before you start playing. You have to, with Minecraft, it's all about making your own fun and planning things. And I've noticed Minecraft does really appeal to kids, but at the same time, there's so much you can do with Minecraft. It has a whole world literally the size of Earth that you can do things with. The thing I really don't like about Minecraft is with the servers. They're usually, on Java Edition, they're usually limited to 200 players. That's if you're going with version 1.12.2. if it's you go with higher versions, it's even a smaller player cap. And the reason I don't like that is because I really want to play a game with a lot of players with Minecraft. It should be like an MMO, like a world that's the size of the Earth has enough room for pretty much as many players as you'd want, especially with an anarchy server. I can see how quickly 2B2T would get destroyed, for example, if it allowed an infinite amount of players. But that it really should be dependent on your hardware. But for example, what happened with 2B2T is they, in the code of Minecraft, which they have not yet fixed, it only operates off of one core of the processor, apparently. So that's the way the game is programmed. So therefore, no matter how good your specs are for your computer, you cannot have a server that will run, be able to hold more than 200 players on it, because there's just not going to be a computer that's powerful enough. Well, they can't. That's not true. They can't have computers that are powerful enough to run it. It's just the software doesn't let the computer take advantage of its full resources for the game. It's just badly programmed. And yeah, it's like 7 p.m. I'm doing this as I'm waiting to have our Thanksgiving meal with my family. Really looking forward to that. Thanksgiving is one of my favorite holidays, actually. Christmas is up there too, I think. I also love Easter as well. I love all the holidays. You really can't choose between them. But with Thanksgiving, you get a lot of food, and you get to overindulge pretty much. Even though I'm supposed to be fasting now because I'm an Orthodox Christian. But the thing is, you don't need to fast if the food is being provided to you, because it's worse to decline food while keeping the fast than it is to actually indulge in food while being nice to the people who are providing hospitality for you. Because the thing is, with Orthodox Christianity, the fasting is just guidelines. It's rules that are there to help improve your self-discipline. Like when the rule becomes a problem, when it actually does more harm than good, you gotta get rid of it. That's a principle in theology, I believe. I think it's called economia. We don't really do legalism with orthodoxy, in that sense, at least. Fasting is a tool that's there to help you. Yeah, and to change the subject, I really am at an impasse with Baptism of Apathy, because I don't know what I'm going to do to start writing the third edition. I'm thinking of... I have so many ideas I'm swirling around in my head right now. What I wanted to do was change the entire story. I think that's what I'm still going to do. I really think that's the best approach. But there's lots of personal poems in there about my personal experiences. Those can't change at all, because those are stuck in time. But the things about fictional events that happen in the book about the fictional world, I can change those as much as I want, I think. There's at least 3 storylines that go on in Baptism of Apathy. There's this storyline about this character named Jordan and this character named Chloe, that they're separated because of a war between the two nations. And Jordan is a rock star who's speaking out against the war. Then you've got Christian and Natalie, who are this couple who are struggling to survive in a world where no one else can see the things that they can see about the world, and basically everything is going to hell in the world, while they're pretty much the only ones with the quote knowledge, the quote gnosis, or quote unquote. So yeah, it really is better to watch the world burn with someone than it is to watch it burn alone, I believe. That's the message of the book, and at the same time it's a veiled treatise against religious extremism, and it's about to get a little more obvious in the third edition. Yeah, extremism is bad. If you're on an extreme side of any issue, you probably need to change your position. Usually, I'd say 99% of the time, extremism is bad. Now, I was just remembering all the fun times me and my fiance had together when she was in America. Now she's in South Africa. She's looking to come back here soon to the United States to visit. And soon after that, we'll be getting married, hopefully. So yeah, we had so many good times together. Like just going, even like the first time I held her hand was we went through the shopping mall, and it was a really awesome experience the first time, and it never really uh, changed after that. Thing is, I just want to be 100% there for her, always there to provide for her. Um, Even though I'm a human, I fail sometimes. We get into fights or whatever, but there's always the thing is with a relationship, to make it work, you have to always be willing to come back regardless if you fight or something like that. It's all about extending your unconditional love to the other person. That's how all relationships work, I think. Like if you don't have unconditional love for the other person, then it's always going to fail. You always have to put the other person first, put their feelings ahead of your own, even though you don't want to have only one person in the relationship making all the decisions. That's not what that means. It just means that you have to make it the other person a priority, and if you don't do that, then there's no chance of it working out. Yeah, and marriage really is about continuing the future generations. Like, kind of afraid to have kids because I don't know what's going to happen, but we'll see what happens. And just always, I've always known that kids are fun to be around, and even though they're a lot of work, but just put in the same love you give the kid, the same amount of dedication as you give to your wife. Because kids can't do anything on their own. They always need your help and support. You got to always treat them right, and that's why people who abuse children are really the worst kind of people out there, because they're defenseless, they're innocent. And that's why, as a parent, you have to be protective of them and always providing for them. So yeah, I'm still looking for a job, but my job prospects are looking pretty good, I'd say, right now. So I'm looking forward to the future where I can have my own family and have my own life and have my own place and make all the decisions with my wife. One thing I really haven't figured out is how to do audio editing. I've done it for all my audiobooks that I've produced so far, but I really don't know how to edit audio to the extent to make it sound better. I know you can use like what do you call those devices? Just took a second to think, and it's called an audio interface. But that seems like a lot of work just to get some audio recorded, to have an audio interface while you're recording. But it really preserves the quality of your sound, I think. Might consider doing that for all future audio stuff I produce. Because when you're recording something simply off of a USB microphone, what it does is it really compresses things to the extent that some of the quality is lost. And when you lose quality, like even like YouTube compresses stuff. So when what you're doing, you're recording, it compresses through the microphone, then it compresses in the recording a little bit when you export it, then it compresses in the video, and then it compresses finally when you get it to YouTube. So it's a lot of compression there where there's a lot of quality loss along the process. And then even if someone rips the video, just the audio portion, if they want to watch it, again, they rip it from YouTube, then that's going to even be a further quality loss, because if people keep an active record of your work, they're going to only have it from YouTube, because you're not publishing the source files. So yeah, as I was saying, there's a lot of compression steps that really take from the quality of the video, of the audio. So that's why you want to have right off the bat have the best quality you can get right away. Yeah, and to change the subject, yeah, I've been doing this walking journey for the past month, really. And what's been happening is my feet have been getting a lot of blisters, just like the skin peeling off. Not sure if it's my my socks or the way I have my shoes, but I gotta fix that so it doesn't happen in the future. And yeah, I'm gonna sign off in just a second from this talking that I've been doing, and hopefully I'll be able to do another one for another episode. And also I'm continuing the walking journey on this channel. So what I'm doing, I'm doing all those things, and hopefully I'll be able to record another audiobook in the future, which will be There's a Serenity in the Dark. It'll be just me reading the text of the book. I'm really proud of the way that one turned out. I was trying to get an audiobook on audible.com, however, but the thing is, when the actor submits the files, the voice actor, the producer submits the files, Audible keeps rejecting it. So we're trying to figure that out, but we'll see if that ever comes to fruition. But as always, have a good Thanksgiving, and I'll see you all guys in the next one. And thank you for watching. And if you do want to subscribe, please subscribe, because that would help me out so much more than you really know. And just stay safe, and goodbye until the next time.